The X-Zone radio and TV show is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X-Zone radio and TV show or in any manner endorsed by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, Talkstar Radio Network, its affiliated stations, or employees.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Ring my friend, I said you called Dr. Robert. Day or night, he'll be there anytime at all. Dr. Robert, Dr. Robert. You're a new and better man. He helps you to understand. He does everything he can. Dr. Robert. If you're down, he'll pick you up. Dr. Robert. Take a drink from his special cup. Dr. Robert. Dr. Robert. He's a man you must believe, helping anyone in need. No one can succeed like Dr. Robert.
And welcome back to the X Zone, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell, coming to you from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. 1-800-610-7035 worldwide. Email xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com. And our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. As you know, X Zone Nation, I get onto topics that I keep on investigating. I keep on searching for answers. We did this with Morgellons. We've done this with so many other illnesses, diseases. We've done it looking for people, for goodness sake. This is my new quest to help find and to help people who have a disease called Menieres or Menieres disease, Menieres syndrome, whatever it is. I know firsthand how devastating this disease, this syndrome is to people. It not only affects the person at home, it not only affects the person at work, it not only affects the person when they go to church, it affects their entire family, it affects their quality of life, it affects who they are. And you know what? You go to doctors and they say, well, there is no cure. There's nothing we can do. Here, take these pills, take a few, here's a little bit of a diet, but that's about all they can do for people who have Menieres. Or so I thought. I decided to go onto the internet and start checking these lack of cures for Menieres myself, and I came across another interesting website, Exonation. www.menieres-disease.ca. And joining me this hour is Karin Henderson. She is in Vancouver, British Columbia. And Karin, welcome to the X Zone.
Hi, thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me.
It's my great pleasure. Karin, as you know, my wife has Menieres. The first major attack she had was 6 o'clock in the morning. She couldn't stand up. It was as if she had had a stroke. I had to call 911. We took her to the hospital. 4 hours later, she's discharged. And, well, we don't know what's wrong, but if it happens again, bring her back. Okay. The same thing happens Christmas Eve, during Christmas Eve service in church. Bring her to the hospital. The doctor there, thankfully, had an idea of what it was, and he said, you've got Menieres. So they put her on something called Circ. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It doesn't work.
That's right. Yep. Okay, Rob, I need to tell you that this is not a disease. Everyone is told that it is, but it really is not. It is. We need to look at cause and effect here. Mm-hmm. There are so many possible causes. We've been doing this for about 11 years now, and the number one cause that we've come across is dental work, and that could be root canals, it could be mercury fillings, it could be dental decay. Number two is sinus problems. Number three are drugs. Number 4 are chemicals, and then come a whole lot of other things. But the person needs to understand this is all about cause and effect. Something is putting pressure on the balance nerve and or the hearing nerve. And in your wife's case, it's the hearing nerve as well as the balance nerve.
Yes.
But most of the problem happens because of the balance problems, right? You can handle the tinnitus, you can handle the deafness, but it's the balance that's the big problem. And that's really what you want to have a look at.
Yeah, like it gets so bad that, she can't stand up and, it's just horrible. And I feel so helpless, like when you love someone and see what they're going through and you can't help them.
Yep.
It's very frustrating. Listen, Karin, you and I have to take a 2-minute commercial break. Please stand by. Great having you with us, and thank you for taking time out of your day to join us here in the X Zone.
Thank you.
X Zone Nation, Karin Henderson is my guest. Her website is www.menieres-disease.ca, and Karin and I will be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as we continue from our studios in beautiful Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. I'll be right back.
Love is ended before it's begun, and too many moonlight kisses seem to cool in the warmth of the sun. When I give my heart, it will be complete.
And welcome back, everyone. Karin Henderson is my special guest in Vancouver, British Columbia. We're talking about Menieres. Karin says I can't call it a disease because it's not a disease. I guess it's the result of a cause. So we're looking at cause and effect. What are some of the cause and effects that you have discovered by talking to people all over the world, Karin? Are there any major or causes that you guys can say, okay, this is this, bang, there you go? Or is every case different?
I think every case is different, but I think there's some the major ones, we've classified them as number one as being dental work. Mm-hmm. That could be root canals, that could be mercury fillings, dental decay, vibrating toothbrush is a major factor.
Vibrating
and
toothbrush?
I'll explain in a minute why these are the problems.
Okay.
But the next one is sinus problems. And again, what the treatment is usually is totally counterproductive to what your body's trying to do. And then the next one is drugs. Drugs are notorious for side effects. And then come chemicals, loads of chemicals. Mm-hmm. And then come really weird things like cell phones. And I mean, we hear about all these kinds of things. Cleaning products, big problem. But basically, what your body is always trying to heal you, and it tries to heal you by what's called the inflammatory process. So if you look at drugs or things like your wife is on Circ, it's an antihistamine, they're trying to, the doctors are doing their job. They're trained to treat symptoms.
Right.
We need to look to say why the symptoms are there. That's the cause. So usually the treatment shuts down the body's natural healing process, which is the inflammation, which is the inflammatory fluid, which is the healing process. So when you have excess fluid, it has to press down on something. And with this healing fluid, And again, this is my theory. I've never been challenged on it. I'm sure somebody wants to challenge me on it, fine. But it makes total sense. When you have all this fluid and no room for it to spread out in, it has to squish down on soft tissue, which is your balance nerve, which is your muscle, your hearing nerve, all the tissue in there is soft. It doesn't compress bone, so it has to go on. And I describe it as two worms side by side, the balance worm and the hearing worm. And to the degree that you're putting pressure on them or irritating them with the chemical, is the degree to which you're going to end up having a symptom. So you could have either just lightheadedness or a drop attack for a balance worm, or you can have deafness and horrible tinnitus at the other end for a hearing worm. So you can have pressure or irritation or whatever onto one or both. And it's a lot easier to deal with deafness or loud tinnitus than it is than to deal with a drop attack or, trying to drive when you have a vertical attack, which is sort of spinning and out of control. There are many, many different ways that people describe these things. But if you come back down to the basics of saying, okay, I have a problem with my balance nerve, and here are the symptoms, people get a little caught up in the details. You really want to go back and say, okay, I've got these symptoms. What's happening and why are they there? And then you start working back from there. And again, when you look at the pressure and the body's natural healing mechanism, it just makes total sense not to shut down your healing process. But we're given anti-inflammatories, we're given antihistamines, and the word anti just means against. And so, why are you shutting down your natural healing system? You want to build up your body. You want to make your immune system, your all-protective mechanism, really, really strong. And if you look at all the stuff that we're eating nowadays, or environment or everything else, it really, your body has to work very hard to be healthy. So you need to help it.
Why did you get involved in the great work you're doing?
When you see your husband crawling up the stairs and you shut down your family business,
hey, listen,
and you start asking why. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I understand completely where you're coming from, because seeing Laura crawl up the stairs, and you feel helpless, totally helpless.
Well, also, nobody understands, and they don't want to talk about it because they think they're crazy. Their doctors are told, I don't know how many times I hear people saying, my doctor said it's all in my head.
Yeah.
Well, your balance nerve is in your head.
Exactly.
But, this is not an emotional thing that you're going through. This is real stuff.
You see, and then the medical community has set protocols that they use in order to try and establish and come to a diagnosis.
Yeah.
And they don't deviate from that.
Well, again, though, I deal with people all over the world. So everybody has exactly the same treatment plan. But that's what our medical system is built on, right? You batch things together. It makes it easy. You haul out your PDR, the physician's desk reference. You know what to give, and that's the end of that. So doctors are trained to do what they do. What I tell people is they have to start taking responsibility for their own health and stop asking everybody else to say, okay, what's my cause? They don't know. They're not in your head.
That's true. You know. The answer is within you. Well,
it can be around you. The symptom is in your head, or in fact, let's go for Laura. The symptom is in Laura's head, right? She's got her balance and hearing, and you can't even see that she's feeling what she's feeling, or that she's feeling really crappy.
Yeah.
But loads of people have eye involvement. Well, if you think about it, the optic nerve is very, very close to the balance and hearing nerves. It makes total sense that if one is affected, why not the others?
So did this also? So how does this affect, in your experience, talking to the people that you've talked around the world? What kind of eye involvement symptoms have you heard about?
Mostly blurry vision, eye fluttering, just not being able to focus properly. And then I tell them it's like, again, we're talking about the body's natural healing mechanism, which is fluid.
Right.
So when you have excess fluid, it's like opening your eyes underwater.
Yeah.
It's all blurry. But it doesn't happen all the time. So again, when it happens, you've got to go back and say, what am I doing? But some of the stuff happens like 4 hours before, 8 hours before, 24 hours, 48. I mean, I've had people that have had it like a week before. It builds up, and then it just sort of something snaps it, and then you have all these symptoms. And you know, when you're talking about taking her to or calling 911, this is so, it happens all the time. But at that point, all the doctors can do is give you the emergency treatment.
Yep.
You've had a reaction, but nobody goes back and says, okay, why did this happen?
Exactly.
But if it only happens a few times, how can it possibly be a disease?
Well, I wish in her case it only happened a few times, but now it seems that it's nearly on a daily basis.
Okay, so you want to have a look and see what she's actually putting on her body, in her body. It can be cosmetics. I mean, I don't know how many people are allergic to nail polish. If you start looking at their nails, the stuff that we do to our nails, the things we do to our eyes with mascara, or, one thing that I'm getting lately is the guys that are using those acne preparations.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. But they don't ever, men don't tend to complain as much. You hide away more than come out in the open.
Yeah, we're macho, you know, Letty. Yeah, we don't like to complain. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and we like you to be that way. But, you know, again, you got to go back to yourself and say, okay, what was I doing? Who would think that creams, lotions, sunscreens, all those kind of things are chemicals that we're putting on our body, and they react.
Yeah.
And more than one chemical reacts with another chemical.
All right. So when you once you've established the protocol or the questions that you ask people, what's your next step?
Most of the people, well, I always send out information. So I send out 3 bits of information. One is on the supplements, because eventually you're going to have to heal your body. So we found a company that was really, really good, and in fact, they have the top rating out of the Comparative Guide to Nutritional Supplements. You want to deal with something that's good quality. So you go to your health food store and you get the best possible vitamin, mineral supplement you can, and try that and see what happens. So we send them information on that. We send them information why we're sending that. And again, it's to back up the immune system. You want to heal your body. It's perfectly doable. It's not. This is not about aging. This is degeneration, and we know we can heal our bodies. The American Medical Association has, and this is a link I send there. They have a link that tells you they've reviewed the use of nutritional supplements for 30 years, and they say that every person should have, every adult should have a nutritional supplement now. The other email I send out is on what we call our observations. These are the things that people have told us. Now, we didn't start out doing this, but people have told us that this is what caused their symptoms. The number one what turned out to be dental stuff. The root canal problem is a huge, huge factor. Mercury fillings are so toxic. So I send links out to the professionals. None of the stuff I'm gathering stuff for everybody else. I seem to be a conduit.
Right.
So I send out information just strictly on what we call observations of all these other weird things. And then people decide if they want to get on the supplements or not. Lots of people want to try and find their own symptoms first. I really encourage that. Because if you can figure out what's caused it, I mean, I have an email I'm working on right now for a lady that has these symptoms since 5 years old, but then she ended up with a shunt.
All right, stand by. You and I have to take our news break. This is very interesting, and once again, thank you very much for coming on. Exonation, Karin Henderson is my special guest this hour. www. You've got your pencils and paper ready? Okay, because here we go. Menieres-disease.ca, and we'll be back on the other side of the news. Don't go away. You're listening to the X Zone Radio Show, live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X Zone Broadcast Network, UK High Definition Radio, Euro High Definition Radio, and Star Cable. Our toll-free telephone number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. Our email address, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com.
I believe it's meant to be, darling. I watch you win.
It's amazing how you can speak right to my heart. Without saying a word, you can light up the dark. Try as I may, I can never explain what I hear when you don't say a thing. The smile on your face lets me know there's a truth in your eyes saying you'll never leave me. The touch of your hand says you'll catch me wherever I fall. You say it best when you say nothing at all.
And welcome back, X-Zone Nation. Our special guest this hour is Karin Henderson, and Karin is in beautiful British Columbia on the west coast of Canada, and her website is www.menieres-disease.ca. All right, so it's not a disease, it's not a syndrome, it's a cause and effect. Does Menieres target people of all ages, or is it selective in its age targeting?
No, it has anybody. We've dealt with people, girls 4 years old to 96-year-old people. It doesn't make any difference. It seems to me that there needs to be a bit of a weakness in that area, or something, like formaldehyde tends to make people's ears itchy. That's a sign right away that you need to pay attention to formaldehyde, but you don't know what formaldehyde's in. So it can be in any kind of product, and the product, you can be a young person, old person, you're still exposed to the product. It doesn't seem to make a difference.
What has there been a common thread established between the people who have Menieres and the people who don't? For example, is there a susceptibility to something that you've seen that link all the Menieres people together? Because let's say two different people are standing in an area where there's formaldehyde, for example. One person may react, the other may not. Is there any common thread with Menieres sufferers?
My gut feeling is that it's how healthy your body is. Let me give you an example. I mean, I have many, many examples, but if you are nice and healthy, like I am, mold is not a problem. But mold was a huge problem for my husband. It was one of the triggers that he had. So,
hello? Did we just lose our guest? All right, we're going to get back over here, and we're going to get our guest back. My goodness, don't you just love it when good old telephone systems just cack out in the middle of an interview? Technology is great when it keeps on working, and sometimes, you know what, it just doesn't work. All right, while Craig is getting our guest back on, X-Zone at xzoneradiotv.com is our email address. Our website is www.xzoneradiotv.com. xzoneradiotv.com, on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Once again, we're going to be getting our guest back this hour, and our guest is Karin Henderson. We're talking about Morgellons. It's a horrible disease, Exo Nation. I know I watch Laura suffer with it. And it not only robs the person, it's not only an illness, I should say, but it also robs them of their quality of life. And the hard part is you go to the medical community and they basically say, well, you know what, there's nothing we can do for you. That is very hard. You go to them for judgment, you go to them for not only judgment, but for a cure, for help, and you know what? You don't get anything, and it's very, very, very frustrating. Once again, Karin Henderson is my special guest, and there, as you can hear, we are calling Karin right now. Thanks, Craig. And her website is www.menieres-disease.ca. And Karin, are you back with us?
I am back here.
Okay, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I guess the medical community got ticked off at us and they kind of zapped the lines. They do it once in a while. Thanks very much.
We need them, you know. Don't.
Yeah, I know.
They're doing their job. Yeah.
They're doing their job.
Yeah.
But there are times, that's another show, but I think that there are times when Big Pharma has too much of an influence on the medical community.
Okay, but that's two different topics,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Pharma is one thing. They're creating drugs. The medical community is another one. They provide a service.
Yes.
So you can't, I mean, we want to connect them, but really that's not fair. The doctors are doing...
if you say so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so...
Okay.
So we were talking about the cause and effect. We were talking about formaldehyde. So I was saying, is it possible, is there a common thread between all the Menieres people who suffer from Menieres that you've been in contact with?
Back again, I keep telling people this all the time. Stop saying the word Menieres. I know you're saying it for a reason, but stop saying it to yourself and just say, okay, balance and hearing symptoms or problems. And you want to say to yourself, okay, why am I having this and why is the other person not having it? Mm-hmm. The other person probably is feeling healthy and doesn't have a problem. They may also, if you were exposed to chlorine from a chlorine spill, I mean, that's very dramatic. And some people are very, very sick from it and others are not as sick. But you're still going to have chlorine in your lungs and that's a big problem. So, yeah. I want to... If you're comfortable with doing this, I want to walk you through something with sinus stuff. Okay. Sinus is our number 2 cause. And I often think it should be the number 1, but we've only batched this only because it's easier to work through the dental thing, and it's a huge problem, especially with mercury. But in your sinuses, normally what everybody's doing is their nose is dripping a little bit, and they run and get either a decongestant or an antihistamine or get one of those little spray things and all. It works completely against what your body is trying to do. When it's dripping, it's trying to clean out something. But now we stop that cleaning process. And we usually stop it with, these neti pots and these saline sprays and all that stuff. Yeah. That dries the body out. You want your body hydrated. So what we tell people to do is fill up the sink with some hot water, put your head over the water, not in it, throw a towel over it to make a tent, breathe in nice, clean, fresh, moist air, warm, not hot, but just nice and warm. And they feel amazingly wonderful because now they're cleaning out their sinuses, they can breathe. So that's the kind of stuff, you see, what we're looking at. It's not... It's not a disease. How can this be a disease?
Well, there are some people who think that Menieres is actually caused by an infection in the inner ear, caused by either by bacteria, where the fluid in the cochlea is actually, the viscosity increases to such a point where it's ineffective. So,
okay, that could well be. Again, go back. What's the body trying to do? It's trying to heal it out. Mm-hmm. So here you have this inflammation. You have bacteria. You've got to get rid of that. So that you've got to do your antibiotics. But again, what most of the people that I hear from anyway are told to use an anti-inflammatory or an antihistamine. Mm-hmm. They don't kill the bugs. So the bugs are still having a good time in there. It's the most wonderful place for bacteria to grow. It's warm, it's moist, it's got all the food in the world. It's perfect. So, and it's dark. So, I mean, that's how bacteria live. So get rid of the bacteria, heal them, buff your body with your antibiotics, and then get rid of that stuff through really good nutrition. And you can do that. I mean, it's sort of, like heal yourself is really easy. It's not very complicated.
Is there an increase in the number of people who are coming? Geez, now what do I call it if I don't call it Menieres? Now you've got me at a disadvantage here.
Carry on, I understand.
All right, are more and more people being diagnosed with Menieres or coming down with the signs and symptoms that Menieres sufferers have?
I think they've always been there. I think now with the internet, we're just seeing a lot more people coming and asking questions. And when you do meta tags for a website, Menieres is the most sought name or a meta tag that we have. So that's why they come see, and people come to me immediately when they come out of the doctor's office, and then they say, "I've just been diagnosed with this. Do I really have to live like that?" So they're already walking from the doctor's office with this horrendous diagnosis, and they already feel really, really bad. Then they come to the website, and they 99% of the websites are all negative and saying you got to live like that.
That's true. That is very true.
But you don't have to do that. You have to think for yourself. You have to use some common sense, and you have to start doing something for yourself that other people are saying, if you can't fix it. You can fix your body. We know how to do that.
I think one of the most horrendous cures for Menieres that I've ever heard was the severing of the nerve to the ear.
You're in the radio industry, so communication. So Rush Limbaugh.
I certainly do, sure.
Find this guy when all this is going on because he ended up with a cochlear implant. In the end, he was no different than anybody else. And what I was finally able to find out is that he had been on a lot of chemicals, a lot of drugs, whatever, and I don't care what reason it is, but they were the cause of his stuff. So if they had gotten him cleaned out, got rid of that stuff out of his body, he would still have his hearing. So again, you've got to go back and say what's good for your body, what isn't good for your body. And once you clean out your body, and it's perfectly doable. You can see I get a little excited about this, right?
I think it's I don't think it's excitement. I think it's passion.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I can see the passion in your website as well.
If you know that you have time-release fertilizers that are causing your symptoms, why would you give yourself an antihistamine or see this as an allergy? Why don't you just stay away from that golf course? Or why don't you heal your body? Or if you're doing like renovations, same thing, like Legionnaire's disease. I don't know. I think you might be old enough to remember.
Oh, yeah. I sure do.
So it's exactly the same thing. All these poor people that had really bad health, and they succumbed to it. Why did all the others not? Because they were healthier. And we know that now. I mean, this has been proven without a doubt. Things like nitrites, MSGs, sulfites, red wine is a problem.
Wow.
But, allergies as a whole, respiratory allergies like asthma, again, if you understand how your body is trying to protect you, it gives you excess fluid to wash all this out. Well, if you start getting fluid in your lungs, that's like drowning. So what do? We give people steroids and non-steroids and all this kind of antihistamine stuff instead of just saying, heal your body and get past it. So, yeah, it's, the other thing, too, is I want to have a chance to say something about drugs and blood pressure.
Go right ahead.
People are being put on, like Circus and antihistamine.
Yes.
Again, it has side effects. So, again, people need to keep an eye on it.
Cause and effect.
Many people, you're a very fast learner. People are put on low-salt diets. They're put on a diuretic.
Yeah.
I want people to think this through. If you don't have a very big blood pressure going through your body, you're not going to be carrying oxygen to your brain. You're going to get dizzy. So when people are put on their blood pressure medications, then they're put on a low-salt diet, then they're given a diuretic on top of that, they don't have any energy to start with because they don't have any blood circulating in their bodies. Somebody has to look at this and say, this doesn't make sense. But nowadays, I used to tell people to take everything to their pharmacist and say, help me figure this out.
Yeah, exactly. And the pharmacist is a resource that not very many people utilize.
Again, you have to understand the mentality of people nowadays. We only want to have our symptoms fixed. We really don't want to know more than that. So fix me, please.
Quick fix. We don't want to know what caused it. We don't know how to fix it. We just want to be fixed.
Yeah, and we go to the doctors because that's who we are trained to go to. But unfortunately, all the chemicals that we're using for whatever else too, and we want to look. I mean, I have people with Botox reactions, and then I have to give them, in my nursing life, I train them to give themselves an anti-inflammatory drug, which is very powerful. And these people have reactions like you wouldn't believe, like scary stuff. But again, it's your body reacting to something that it doesn't like in there because it's not good for you. That's the bottom line. Heal your body and get back again.
You and I have to take our final break, Karin. Please stand by. Great pleasure talking to you. What's your website?
www.Menieres-disease.ca.
All right. You and I will be back on the other side of this break as the X Zone continues from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, X Zone Nation, if you know anyone who has Menieres, this is the website to go to, www.Menieres-disease.ca. Karin and I will be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
Saying a word, you can light up the dark. Try as I may, I can never explain what I hear when you don't say a thing. The smile on your face lets me know that you need me. There's a
And welcome back, everyone. Our guest this hour is Karin Henderson. She is in beautiful British Columbia in Vancouver. Her website is www.Menieres-disease.com. First of all, Karin, thank you ever so much. .ca. All right, so let's try that again. www.Menieres-disease.ca. As I was saying, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a great pleasure talking to you. Yeah, I'm sure we've got people listening to us now who are saying, well, maybe that's what I've got. What are the basic or the most
the
prominent
symptoms?
Yeah, the classic symptoms.
Okay. Inner ear pressure, tinnitus, which is noise, dizziness and vertigo, and hearing fluctuation. So if somebody has those and they go to the doctor, and they will immediately then be given that as a diagnosis. And then put on a diuretic and a low-salt diet and oftentimes Valium, and then told just there's nothing to be done. And sometimes they do inner ear surgery, sort of to like a decompression, so on the theory that there's extra fluid or some pressure that relieves the pressure. And then eventually, they're told to cut the nerve, and that's it. And that's horrible. I offer to phone people right away. I have one today that she's been told that she she has her surgery on March the 30th, and this is what they're going to do to her, and I'm saying, I'm calling you up. So I send her the information, and then I will call her. But, yeah. I have something that I wonder if, there are a couple of things that, as we were talking, I thought that people need to know a couple of things that they can do. Is that okay?
Sure, you've got about a minute and 10 seconds.
They need to create their own flow chart, and that's very easy to do. Just say when the symptoms are starting, when they've noticed it, go back 2 hours, 4 hours, put a time, an actual time beside that, and start to work back, because then it can trigger in their minds what they might be eating or drinking or where they've been or what they put on their bodies. It just triggers thinking. 24 or 48 hours is perfectly acceptable. The other thing that people need to understand, too, is your body is one giant department store, and everything is connected. So you might have symptoms in your other part of your body, you don't think about it. They might have migraines, and they don't even connect the two. But they're very real, and they're all connected. So, again, it's learning how your body works, and then just going back to the basics of making it healthy enough that it works for you, and you work with it.
Karin, I want to thank you so much. We've just run out of time for today. We're going to have you back on in the future because there's still so much to talk about this. Well, what is it now? Let me get it straight. It's not Menieres. It's not a disease. It's not a syndrome. What is it?
It's just symptoms. You have balancing hearing symptoms. Balancing
and hearing symptoms. All right, we're going to have to change everything. By the way, are you going to be changing your website from Menieres?
No, because it's the only way people come to us, because that's what doctors do.
All right. All right, Karin, thanks very much. Great talking to you.
Pleasure.
You and I will be talking in the future again, so thanks again.
Okay.
Well, that's it for tonight, Exo Nation. I want to thank all our guests, all our affiliates, all our stations, all our networks for carrying the show. You make it possible. And always remember, Exo Nation, keep your eyes to the sky and your heart to the light. Speak to you tomorrow.